everyone, it's Katie from the Everhart Museum in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and for lesson number 5 for Art Week for Museum Adventure Week, I'm going to show you drop spindling first to wrap your own yarn, and then how to use either the yarn that you make or yarn that we provided to make a friendship bracelet. So to get this started, you're going to take one bunch of your wool that we provided in your bag. You should have 3 different colors, so pick one that you like, and you're going to unravel it a little bit because we only want a little bit at a time. So let me show you what it's going to look like later. You're going to have yarn wrapped around the spindle, and you can see the loose stuff that hasn't been wrapped yet. So I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to stretch it out so I have just a little bit of the wool to start. So if you can imagine having to make your own wool to make your own clothes, this was part of the process. You're going to take a couple of inches of the loose wool, put it underneath your hook, and I'm going to stretch this out a little bit thinner because you really don't need much at all to get it started. And when I fold it back over, I'm going to hold both of those pieces together and spin. So if you notice, I spun it counterclockwise. So mine's spinning that direction. I want to always remember that direction that I'm spinning it, because every time I spin it, I want it to go counterclockwise. If it's more comfortable for you to spin the other direction, you do that, but just remember which way you go. So you notice it's really tight here. So I'm going to take my other hand and pinch it and use the hand that was holding it to thin out more of this, pinch a little bit higher, and when I let go, that twist is going to travel up my yarn. So then I'm going to unlock it from between my knees. You'll notice I'm holding my spindle between my knees and spin it again. So that twist is carrying up nice and tight, and then I'm going to park it between my knees, pinch again, loosen up a little bit of this yarn so it's pretty thin, and notice how it's frayed, but when I pinch above and let go below, it's going to tighten it up a little bit before I spin again. Maybe I need 2 twists before it spins nice and tight. Maybe I need 3. So it's going to spin to get it nice and thin. I'm going to park it between my knees, grab with one hand, the other hand, so I can stretch out my wool. Notice how it's still really loose, but then when I pinch higher and let go, it tightens it up. That tight twist travels high. Spin it the same direction that I have been spinning it. I'm going to feel it tightening up between my fingers, park it between my knees, pinch right where that hand is, stretch out some yarn, stretch out some wool that I'm making into yarn, pinch a couple inches higher, see how it's nice and fluffy. When I let go of my bottom one, that tight twist travels high. Alright, so that's pretty long. So you'll notice there's part of your spindle that has a little groove. You don't want that to happen. I'm going to try to get that back on my hook. It's not a big deal. I might just need to tighten things. So I got my loop back on my hook. That was a good save. I'm going to do a couple more tightening twists. Alright, we'll see how it is. I'll go up higher. See how it's loose and let the tight twist travel high. Now I'm going to watch where that hook is this time and take what I have done, oh, I almost did it again, and go and rest it into that place. This will allow me to wrap my yarn around the spindle, come back up through that notch and under my hook, and I'm going to now repeat the process. Stretch out my wool, twist counterclockwise, park it between my knees, pinch, stretch some more, and let go. Spin it the same direction. You might be getting a good piece of yarn as well. Stretch it out so it's fluffy, and release that one so the tight twist travels high. So this is just practice to get to know what it was like for people to make their own yarn. You do not have to use this yarn to make your friendship bracelet, but we wanted you to know how it's done and how people used to do it and how people still do it. They make yarn by hand. There's a couple of steps that you have to do to treat this before it'll look like the yarn that you buy at the store. So it involves soaking it in hot water and getting it a little bit more ready to go and keep its tight twist. So you won't be able to just take it right off your spindle and make a friendship bracelet with it. But if you want to try your hand at making it even more ready to go into yarn, you can look that up online. And if you have a really great tutorial, you can share it on our Google Classroom if it's better than the one that we have, and share it so everybody else can see how you tried to make your own wool roving into yarn to make your own bracelet. So I'm going to unwrap it again and rewrap it around my spindle to keep all of that yarn that I have made in a safe place before I wrap it around my hook one last time. And I'm just going to leave it like this. So have fun making your own yarn. Alright, here are the materials you need for your bonus lesson for making a friendship bracelet. You might have some different colored yarn. We gave you what we had left here at the Everhart Museum, and it's all the same length, and you all should have 7 strands of yarn. If you don't like the colors we gave you and you can go out and find your own, go for it. You need 7 pieces of yarn about that size. So I'm going to get my loom ready, just like with our family tree weaving. We're going to use a circle with some notches cut into it. The difference is this loom has 8 notches equally spaced all around our circle, and it has a hole in the center pre-punched. So I'm going to give little snips right where those marks are. Once again, not making them any longer than what they were drawn on there. And unlike the tree weaving, this one's not going to stay on the loom. It's going to be pulled all the way through that central hole, and you won't have to worry about this looking imperfect. So you can also reuse this as many times as you want. So I'm going to get rid of my scraps. I don't need my scissors anymore. I'm going to count out my 7 strands and line them up evenly. Now I have an extra, so I'm going to get rid of that extra green one, and I have 7. If you like the shoestring ends, plastic ends, you can keep them. If you don't like them, you can snip them off with your scissors. So I'm going to line them up, and I'm going to do an overhand knot. So I'm going to use these 2 fingers and wrap the yarn, all 7 strands around it, and then I'm going to pull them through. So it's a big opening, but I'm going to pull it tight towards those shoestring endings. So now all 7 pieces are stuck together. Now, this one could probably be the toughest one, so those shoestring ends might be helpful here. I'm going to take all 7 pieces. I didn't have too many. I just couldn't count. So I'm going to add that green one back in. Wrap it around so it can join the party. There we go. So I'm going to take the untied ends and push them through that center hole. I might need to do them one at a time. I might be able to get all of them together. It's not going to be pretty. Just get all of them through the other side of your loom. So these shoestring ends are actually really helpful for this part. So I have all 7 pieces sticking out the other side, and I'm going to gently pull them through. So my knot is tucked right there at the bottom. Alright, so now I have these 7 pieces that I'm going to carefully take and put one in each notch. It's not going to make a huge difference which colors go where, but if you want to set a good pattern for yourself, go for it. They're all going to get used and they're all going to work together. You guys, you won't believe it. I kept counting wrong over and over again because for your loom, you actually only want 7 strands. You want to leave the one empty. So that green yarn, it wanted to come join the party. But I'm going to fix it and cut it away. Alright, so now the directions on your lesson plan have you hold your loom so that the notch is pointing towards your belly. When it's pointing towards your belly, you're going to unwedge 1, 2, 3 to your left. So I'm going to undo the orange one and put it in that empty piece. So I'm going to turn it towards the empty piece, hold the empty notch towards my belly, go 1, 2, 3, grab this piece and put it in the notch that's open. Turn it the same direction I have been, hold the empty notch towards my belly, 1, 2, 3, unlatch and relatch. Now they're starting to twist here in the middle, so I'm going to pull on the bottom side of my knot just a little bit. Turn it, 1, 2, 3, redo. Turn it, 1, 2, 3, redo. And I'm going to repeat this process over and over and over again. And it's going to become very methodical, very soothing. Maybe you joined us for Nature Week and you made a mandala and it was very calming. Weaving can have that same or similar effect because once you get started, you shouldn't have to think too much about it. You're just going to go 3 over and tug on the knot underneath and repeat. 3 over, tug on the knot over underneath and repeat. Alright everyone, here is what I wove for a friendship bracelet. Once I started, I just couldn't stop. So I want to show you quickly how to take it off of your loom. I'll just pop the rest of those strings out of their notches and pull it the rest of the way through. So this is what you can reuse all over again to make a friendship bracelet for more friends or for yourself so you have matching ones. So I'm going to take this in and I'm going to wrap it around those 2 fingers to get an overhand knot and push all those ends through and try to scooch it to where my weaving ended and pull nice and tight. Okay, so when you trim the ends, make sure you don't trim too close to the knot because that'll most likely lead to it coming undone. Give a little bit of space and then trim the ends. And I'm going to do that for both ends. And then you can decide a lot of different ways how to tie it on your wrist. Miss Nancy and Miss Sarah told me that since it's such a long bracelet that I should just wrap it around a couple of times and then tie it in a knot. Okay? If you don't want that whole big knot, you can try tying it onto one another's ends so that it slides more. So I'm going to wrap it around one or the other piece, and that way it slides nicely through there. And then I'm going to take this end and tie it to the other string. And you want to make this a double knot so it stays for sure, but I'm just showing you quickly. So once I get that on that end, then you can resize it by pulling the other strings through there. That way you can put your bracelet on and then change the sizing of it. So that's how to finish your friendship bracelet. I hope you had a great time this week for art camp weaving for 3 through 6 for the Everhart. Have a great rest of your summer.